going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives at the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Giant Mouse Ace Iona version 2. Now, the Iona is a knife that I have been familiar with. I bought one years ago before I even started the channel. In fact, I bought it and then I gave it to a friend. But I gave it to a friend because it felt a little light on the G10 scales. It had an M390 blade, which I liked a lot, and I liked the size, but I didn't like the feeling. I've always told you that I like the feeling kind of solidity on knife. So I hadn't kept one. But in the last, I want to say 6 months, a Giant Mouse came out with this version, and there's actually two versions of this one. There's the titanium version, which is the one that I have, and there's the aluminum version, and this is much more my style, which is something with a little bit more heft to it. If you like the lightness, there's a version of micarta, there's a version of G10, and you can go for those. And I think if you're looking for something that's very light, I think it's an excellent choice. But I was very excited when they finally came up with the titanium and the aluminum version, and this is what it is. So the size of this is really good. Let me show you. This is the blade is right at 3 inches. Okay, so kind of a little bit on the smaller side of the blade, but decent enough. And let me give you some size comparisons here. So here it is against the pair 2. And here it is against the pair 3. So a little bit shorter than the pair 3. But in that general neighborhood. Obviously, you get much more cutting edge on the Iona than you get on the pair 3. Hopefully, that comes across. It's almost probably about a ½ inch more. Thickness, the thickness of the blade. And I'll show you here in a little bit, but you can see kind of how thick it is. It's a little bit it's close to the thickness of. I've got this pair 3 with titanium scales, and they're roughly the same thickness. But if you see kind of what Metal Complex calls carry profile, this carries much better, and so there you go. I think it's a closer comparison in size. I think a great comparison is the full size bug out. That's a mini bug out. So this is the aluminum version of the bug out. So this is a little chunkier. It's a little thicker, but it's very much in that kind of class of knife. Okay. This one's going to fill your hand a little bit more. It's certainly heavier than the bug out, but it feels like a more robust knife. So let's get into it. Let's talk about ergonomics. And the ergonomics, I wear large, sometimes extra large gloves. I've been finding that sometimes my hand doesn't fit in a large glove anymore. I don't know if my hands are growing or the gloves are shrinking, but large or extra large, and my hand, feels it fits kind of fairly well into this space. Just a tad bit cramped. I think maybe if it were like an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/4 of an inch, it would feel perfect. But mine are large or extra large hands, so for a 3-inch blade to have a handle that I can actually put my whole hand around, it's actually very good. And like I said before, it's a little chunkier, so it fills my hand very well. It's contoured and it's got this cutout, so that feels very well. The only thing that I don't like is that you can't feel the pocket clip. Now I've got it right here in a saber grip, but I can even feel it. It's a little less on a hammer grip, but on a saber grip, it lands exactly here, and it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest. So I think the contouring is good. The feeling, the chunkiness feels my hand. I think that the pocket clip is it's a little in the way. So I think if you're going to use it for, you know, a little bit of a harder use, maybe gloves or something that you want to do. I don't know if I mentioned before, but this is they went with an S90V blade, and if you saw my kind of spoiler alert, it's one of my favorite steels. If you go look at my kind of best steels video, it's one of my favorite steels, and that's kind of where I decided to pull the trigger. I think S90V is a great steel, especially for an EDC knife. So let's keep going and let's talk action. So deployment is excellent. It's only through the thumb studs. There's no flipper here. There's nothing else that you can do, but it's very snappy, and it's something that was kept from the original Iona, the G10 version of the knife that I had. It felt equally snappy, and I like that quite a bit. It deploys very very nicely. It doesn't drop shut, as you can see. I have to actually close it. The tension on the liner lock, I think is oh, I guess I should say that it's a liner lock. It's a liner lock, and so the tension on the liner, I think it's heavy, and it doesn't, like right here, I've disengaged it, but I can't. It takes a significant amount of shaking to get it to actually close. This giant mouse, if you are listening, and please listen to this, the knife community implores you, you need to do something about your lock bar axis. You've tried, right? You made an attempt here, but your lock bar, it's protrudes so much to the right? You got a liner lock, but it goes, the lockup is kind of at 60%, right? I mean, it's so far out there, and the gap. Look, I'll give you a ruler here, and you can see the gap that you're left with is about 1/8 of an inch, if that. It might be it's a 1/16 of an inch. That's the amount of gap that you leave to disengage the lock bar. I love your knives. I think that the Ace Grand is one of your greatest accomplishments. The Ace Grand Mini, or whatever you're calling the Atelier, the little one. I like the Jutline quite a bit, and they all have the same problem: lock bar access. There's videos out there. If you look at Neve's Knives videos, there's one where he modifies the Ace Grand. You guys need to do something about your lock bar access. You really do. It's become a thing. It's become a thing where I have to kind of press hard down so that I can kind of mold my finger around the lock bar so I can disengage it. It's a lot. So I don't enjoy fidgeting with this knife. It's after 3 or 4 flicks, the action of pushing down with my thumb and moving it over, it's not pleasant. Okay, so moving on to cutting. So this is the bug out. So it's got a little bit thicker blade than the bug out, but it is thinner than what you get in the Para 2 and Para 3. It is very slicey. It's not as slicey as the bug out, because the bug out has, first, this one is primarily a full flat grind, but it's got just a little bit of a saber grind in the back here. The bug out is actually a full flat grind on a thinner blade, so it doesn't quite reach the level of sliciness of a bug out, but I think it feels a little bit better than the Para 2 and Para 3. I think it's very slicey. I think it's an excellent cutter. I think it's an excellent EDC, and I think they've done a good job on the heat treatment. I can't speak to the edge retention just yet. I've had it I carried it, but it takes a significant more use for me to tell you about the edge retention. But I can tell you that it came very, very sharp, that it is very, very slicey, and I think it's a great size. I mean, you know what I've said. A 3 1/4 is kind of my ideal blade size. This is at 3 inches, and I think if they would have done, you know, a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here, this would be right up there with some of the best knives that I've handled. It's still, I would still highly recommend this one, and I think these are still available, which surprised me a little bit. A lot of these titanium aluminum versions of the Giant Mouse, they go very quickly, but if you go to Giant Mouse right now, I'm not affiliated with Giant Mouse, they don't know I exist, but if you go, you can still find this. Fit and finish. I think what they've attempted to do is really good. You can flip the pocket clip from one side to the other. In case I forgot to mention it, you can see the for the lefties out there. I think the fit and finish is very good. I think the kind of vapor finish of the titanium is very nice. I'm not a huge fan of the color of the kind of bronze anodized. You know, I would have liked to just leave it plain or make it blue or something, but you know, that's kind of an aesthetic choice. But I think all of the milling, I think it's really nicely done. I think I like the grind lines. It's not quite the grind lines that you get from Riot, but it's pretty darn good. I don't like that the grind lines kind of continue on to the flat. Okay, I think I would have liked the flat to have a different finish, but again, I think that's maybe an aesthetic choice. You get the only thing is you get a little bit of a or my version, you get a little bit on the choil here. You can see where the edge comes into this corner. So just the grind should have been just a smidge better there. But I think overall it's a decent build and quality, especially for the price. Let me see if I can tell you. So these go for $235. So you get a titanium liner lock, you know, with an S90V blade for under $250. I think the value is really good. Yeah, as far as value, I think Giant Mouse is one of the harder ones to beat. At least that's, again, my opinion. So we talked about action, we talked about ergonomics, cutting, fit and finish. So airing of grievances. Again, lock bar axis, Giant Mouse, you need to really do something about your lock bar axis. I kind of feel like that I've said it in the Ace Grand, in the Atelier, in the Jutland, and I'm saying it in this one too. Lock bar axis is they obviously are thinking about it, right? But I think this has to go down. This has to go down, especially if you're going to have a lock bar axis that is at 60%. That's a lot. I think that the pocket clip, the wire pocket clip, it's effective. It works very well, but it's kind of, I feel like it has its place in the G10 version, maybe even the micarta version. But if you're doing a titanium and an aluminum version, that feels like a higher end level of knife, and I think the wire clip is just, it's kind of an afterthought. I don't like it that much. I think that the color, the bronze, you know, I'm not crazy about the color, but some people like it. But overall, I think that the knife is really good, and I think that I would highly recommend that, especially if you have medium hands, even large hands. I think it's a high recommendation for larger hands. But I think it's hard to beat the quality, the fit and finish, the S90B blade for $235. I think that's hard to beat. Well, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you do, then subscribe. Do not hit the bell button. Nobody likes to get more notifications. Nobody likes to get more emails. you'll find my channel and you'll find my videos if you want to. And until I see you at the next one, take care.